Well, hey guys, I'm about ready to start the 8th episode of the Winning at Work and Home podcast. Let me make sure that everything is set up correctly before I actually start recording. Sure. Thanks guys for being patient. Pull this up. This is about ready to start, guys. I appreciate your patience. Okay, so it looks like everything's good online. Then I can start hitting the record. Okay, there we go. Okay, I will start recording here. Well, welcome guys to the 8th episode of the Winning at Work and Home podcast. It's funny, maybe the girls at the office will see this, but I was supposed to be running over to Office Depot and I got motivated to come do the 8th episode. Last week was interesting with Thanksgiving and everything like that, so I was kind of a flake last week. I only think I did one episode and I wanted to do at least 2 to 3 a week. So with that being said, right now I'm actually supposed to be at Office Depot picking up some stuff, and I ran home and decided to do this 8th podcast as well. Just occasionally when you feel motivated, when you feel like you can flow and you got some stuff that you want to share in your mind, sometimes you got to take advantage of that opportunity. So Office Depot isn't going anywhere. I can head there later on this afternoon. But listen, guys, hopefully you had an awesome last week. Thanksgiving, it was cool because my boy, I have 4 kids, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but one of them came back from his first year freshman in college at Wichita State, came back with his girlfriend. I really like her a lot. I don't know if my boy listens to this podcast, Liam, but I really enjoy her. Just a great person, sweet and kind to him, laughs at her jokes. She laughs at my jokes, which I like. Just really good values, and I think it was so neat for him to be able to have that relationship with her while he's at college, right? Because if you go to college and if you don't have a girl, right, I guess you're focused more on school and your sports. But I think naturally as a man you're drawn and you want to find a girl. So a lot of times you end up in situations or places looking for girls, and they're not the best situations. So I'm happy that he's focused on baseball, his girl, and, academics. In which order that is, I don't have a clue, right? But it's okay, right? Because at least he seems to have everything under control. So it was nice to have him back. His sister, his little sister Hope, who's 9, was just thrilled. And what a neat thing to see. One of the things that they did, I can almost get emotional just thinking about it. One of the things that they did, gosh, my eyes are all red. One of the things that they did that they enjoyed so much when he was here was just like resting on the ground, resting in the living room, and having a good time, tickling and so they got a lot of that in this past week. So anyways, glad that happened. So back at it with the 8th episode. I want to talk about a few things. This podcast is designed really to help you not only win in the workplace, but win at home. It's so important. And this just helps me share my thoughts, share my ideas. The more that I get it out, the more it helps me to live it. So this podcast is not only wanting me to contribute to others, but it is a selfish thing as well for me doing this, because it's something that is important to me, and it kind of keeps me on track, and I feel good when I do it. I feel good when I'm contributing. So I appreciate you guys. If you're listening for the first time, go back. There's 7 other episodes. I'm just starting. And I was thinking also too, I love to have some guests. I've right over, you can't see, but I have a really nice couch and chair set up, a nice little office set up. I thought it'd be neat to bring people who want to come over to the house that I think are valuable or can give valuable information for all of us to kind of come and do some interviews and things like that. So that's something that hopefully is in the making. I need to make sure I have the mic set up and everything audio so you can hear correctly. If you're watching live on Facebook right now, I just kind of got a microphone to even get the audio corrected through social media, right? Because now I'm just recording on Audacity, and it sounds great in the podcast, but maybe not as good if you're watching live on Facebook, for example. But anyways, let's go ahead and get to some topics. This is about growth. It's about learning and some neat things. I actually wrote on my hand. I don't think you can see that. You can see if you're looking, because I'm known for like pulling over the side of the road and taking notes, but I was in traffic and I didn't have time, so I just wrote some different things that I wanted to talk about on my way back home to record this morning. But one of the things that I wrote down in my hand was the word no, and how important that word is, the word no. And we really, 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 really need to make sure that we get much better at saying no to things. So often what we do is we try to, let's say somebody asks us a question and we say yes to maybe not make them feel bad, right? But often what we're doing is we're just kind of delaying that later on no or that later disappointment, right? So we say things to individuals that, oh yeah, well, I can do that or this and that, as opposed to just saying no from the very beginning. But what we end up doing is that little bit of uncomfortable of saying no in the beginning, what we do is we delay a bigger, more upsetting uncomfortable later on, when in the beginning you probably just should have said no. So I hope that makes sense. We don't want to over promise. We don't want to get ourselves caught up in so many different things that we can't take care of the most important things in our life. And I think we have a tendency sometimes, too many of us, to do that, right? Too many of us just don't like to say no because we don't want to hurt anybody's feeling, or we feel that it's our duty to help out in this or that, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, if you say yes to too much, okay, or the idea, and you heard the statement, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And often what happens is when we say yes to too many things, when we don't use the word no, okay, it takes away from other things. If we're in business and there's a few key things that we need to get done in the day, okay, but we have trouble saying no to our coworkers, or we have trouble saying no to this, or helping out in that area, or assisting over there, it takes away often from the most important things that we need to do. And then it hurts our business, it hurts the clients, it makes us feel irritated, it makes us feel resentful to the people that we said yes to in the beginning, which we shouldn't feel that way, right? We're the one that said yes. So the power of the word no is so important. We may be saying yes to too many things outside of the workplace. Whether that's helping out with sports teams, whether it's helping out with coaching, whether it's helping out friends, maybe it's at the church, whatever it may be. And listen, I'm not saying, don't help in any areas or other areas outside of work or your family. I'm not saying that. But what you need to be aware of, if you are going to say yes to those things, is it going to hinder you from doing the things that you need to be doing at home, or in your relationships, as a parent, in your spiritual life, whatever it may be? Because we do no good if we're running around trying to help this person or help that person, or serve in that committee at church, or serve here and serve there, when we can't serve our wife, when we can't serve our kids, okay, when we can't take care of the body that God's given us. That doesn't do any good. What we need to do, and how we can best serve individuals, is by taking care, okay, of the most important areas of our life, which means often saying no to a lot of things. Saying no to a lot of things, okay? And saying yes to the few things that matter the most. So I want you to be really aware of that. I want you to look at your life, and if you feel that you're, stretched too thin, are there some things that you can cut out? Are there some things that you can take off your plate? And you really need to look at doing that. My partner's in real estate right now. That's the conversation I think we had to have about a year and a half ago, maybe. Yeah, about a year and a half ago. They were just serving and doing so much. I mean, every single night they were serving here, they were doing something there, they were, and we had to cut back on that because it was, cutting into their sleep, it was cutting into the production of the business, it was cutting into family time, all those different things. So you really need to look at your life and figure out, okay, what you can do, okay, or what you need to say no to. So think about that, the power of no. All right? Next thing that I wrote down in my head, or my hand, not in my head, that would be weird, is I love the idea. I was listening to John Maxwell, and he kind of talked about this of, and he talks a lot about goal setting and things like that, and I talk about that a lot, and it's important to set goals. But he makes this great statement: it's better to be growth orientated than goal orientated. And I think that's so important because, listen, once you hit a goal, and I may have talked about this before, I'm not sure, but we often need to hear things several times before it starts to stick into our head. Once you hit a goal, that's it. Okay, you hit that goal, and you may set another goal, obviously higher, whatever it may be, but you may not. I don't know. That's the end. But if you're growth orientated, if you have the mindset of always continuing to learn and grow, okay, those goals are then going to be hit, and those goals are automatically going to be raised up, right? When we're not so goal focused, but we're more growth focused. And it's so interesting. I was meeting with a young individual today. He's 29 or 21, and it's just amazing. It's interesting because a lot of times, I hear a lot of whining and complaining of, the younger generation of these young kids, blah, 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 don't focus, and they're just not, I don't know, lazy I don't know what it is. I'm trying to get my point across here. But you know what? I've been meeting with some young kids that really seem to have their stuff together. This guy was 21, and we were talking a little bit, and he asked me a question: what do you think has made the biggest difference in your success, over the last 10, 12, 13 years in real estate and business? And I told him, I said, it really comes down to personal growth. It comes down to being hungry every single day to learn and grow as an individual. And that's what I told him. I said, listen, you're 21, but if you can take time every single day to read good books or to listen to good podcasts or YouTube videos, but really take the time to grow every single day, that's going to be your biggest, I feel, part in your success. And it's so true, guys. And it's just, if we can have that mindset of every single day we're going to learn and we're going to grow and we're going to be hungry and we're going to ask questions and we're going to see how can I do a little bit better in business? What can I do? Read the books. I told him a great statement that I think it was Jim Rohn talked about. I may have said this before, that, if you look at the more wealthier neighborhoods or the larger homes, what do they always have inside of them? And this may be a little different now, but I thought it was a great statement. He said the larger homes usually have libraries, right? And it's so true. It's so true. As opposed to maybe, and I'm not knocking small homes. I'm not knocking any of that kind of stuff. But what I'm saying is the main focus may be that 55-inch TV, right? Where you're instead of educating yourself, you're being entertained. And if you look at that, and that's one of the reasons, you can see, if you're watching online, you can see my books in the background. That's one of the things when we built, our home 8-9 years ago, that I said, man, I got to have an office and I got to have a bookshelf. I want to have a big bookshelf. And if you kind of look around, You can't see right here, but I have a ton of books. And I haven't necessarily read all the books, but I'm just pumped to have the books around. And I do read every morning, and I do, consume as much as I possibly can. But the idea of being growth orientated as opposed to goal, you got to have those goals. I'm not saying that, but be more focused on just growing in the most important areas of your life every single day, and really you'll start to see that success come a little bit more. So that's something that I wrote down. Okay, next thing I want to talk about. And hopefully, you guys, this is working. Listen, I would love feedback. If you got comments, I would love some feedback. It would really, really help me. If this is beneficial, this podcast, share it. Share it with somebody. I would love you to do that. Anything would help in regards to that. Let me go ahead. I want to talk about the next topic, a little bit of some mindset minutes that I did, just 3 real quick. I did one last week, whatever is lovely, whatever is pure. And that's off Philippians. I'm trying to look here. Let me pull it up. I just want to make sure I get the verse right. Let me see here. Thanks for your patience. Yeah, Philippians 4:8. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And whether you're a Christian, whether you're a spiritual individual, that's not the point of what I want to talk about right now. Okay, what I'm more concerned about and what I wanted to share with you is really the idea of what you put in your mind. What you put in matters. And if we're putting in junk, if we're putting in crap, if we're looking at things that are not pure, if we're looking at things that are not lovely, if we're listening to things, okay, if we're reading things that aren't good, if we're watching things, like I said, I'm not saying all news is bad, but if you're watching, a lot of times the evening news, get a drink of water. You can walk away from that pretty depressed, pretty bummed out. So it's interesting, guys. What we really need to do is make sure that we're focused on what we put in our mind. We need to stand. I've heard this statement several times by several different speakers. We need to stand guard at the doorway of our mind and make sure that we're putting good stuff in. Because if we put good stuff in, good stuff's then going to come out, right? And that's what we really need to be focused on. If we're putting good stuff in, we can be good for our clients. If we're putting good stuff in, we can be a good husband or a good wife. If we're putting good things in, okay, we can be a good parent. And often what happens is when we're not putting good stuff in, besides just what it does to our mind and everything like that, we feel guilty, we feel bummed out about it, we're then sensitive, and then somebody says something, a client or wife or kids, and then because we're dealing with this guilt inside, that then we, jump down their throat or we overreact. But if we have good thoughts that are always coming into our mind, okay, good things are going to come out. So think about that. Whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, all those things, make sure that you're putting good stuff in your mind. It's so, so important. Another thing I want to talk about, I did this the other day, that people do business with people. And listen, I think that's so important. And this is going to jump back a little bit to that personal growth. But the idea that people do business with people, not necessarily products. And it's something I feel we really, 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 really need to think about. I just moved the camera a little bit. I was looking, gosh, I'm pale. I'm always somewhat pale. This is where the sun comes in a certain time in the office. I know I talked about this, but I try to get the lighting better. But I still look pale. But listen, people do business with people, not products. And I think it's so important. I talked about this, that people don't necessarily buy products, services, ideas, or vision. Okay, what they ultimately buy is you. Okay? And we need to make sure that we're doing things that are attractive to others. So if you want to increase your business and you want to increase your relationships outside of business, you need to first improve yourself. I love what Jim Rohn talks about. He says success is not something you attract. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by becoming an attractive person. So listen, if we want to have a better marriage, if we want to have better friendships, if we want to make more money or have more influence, okay, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're always continually looking to improve and get better. And that's where that talks about that personal growth that I just did that. So it's going to help you in everything, guys. It's going to help you that personal growth is really like what I told that boy, the most important thing. You know, going back to it, and then I want to end right here. We're at about 19 minutes. Maybe this takes about 25, a little shorter on this one. You know, a lot of people are watching this, hopefully are in real estate or in the mortgage industry or just in business in general, right? And one of the things that I find is so interesting now is, you know, when I met with this younger individual, and that's kind of why I was fired up today, because I love meeting with people. I love meeting with young people and kind of helping them launch their career, at least, you know, get it going in the correct direction. And one of the things that I found was so interesting is the idea of how he asked me kind of what do you feel I need to do in order to start developing relationships with these individuals, you know, or start to get clients. So he's in the lending world. He's in the lending world, right? And he's young, okay, and he needs to get about 10 to 15 real estate agents that he's working with. And I really told him, where I talked about people do business with people, is you have to develop the relationships. You have to be so incredibly smart in how you reach out to these people. So I'm in LinkedIn, and I know a lot of you are on LinkedIn as well. But what I've noticed in LinkedIn, and you got to stick with me here because I think this is so important if you're in real estate, if you're in business, if you're trying to gain clients or customers. You know, I have a real estate office, have a real estate team. We do pretty well. I probably get maybe 2 to 3 messages a day on LinkedIn. And you know what I do? And I'm sorry if you sent me one. It starts out pretty much the same way. Hey, Damon. Or sometimes they don't even have my name. And they just go on to 2 to 3 paragraphs on how I should meet with them and get to know about the products and services that they offer. And you know what? I'm lucky if I get through the first 2 sentences. I'm lucky if I even read them. Most of the time it's like delete. And listen, a couple things. Number one is those people that are doing that stuff on LinkedIn are wasting their time, right? The email that they send me is obviously about their services and what they offer, which, to be honest, you know what? I got to get to know you. There's great lenders out there. I want to know you on a personal level first. So I could care less. So if you come with what you have and what you're about first, is not going to work. And listen, I really want this to help people that are trying to gain more business. So if you're out there doing that and using LinkedIn, it's interesting because LinkedIn is obviously more the business, the social business, and like what Gary Vee talks about so much is often marketers ruin platforms, and I really think on LinkedIn now it's ruined because every single day I'm getting solicited by the same things. But what is wide open, and I don't want to, I don't want this to be ruined too, is direct message on Facebook or Instagram. So what I told this individual is to go through and research the individual. Now, if he's trying to reach somebody like me and he sends out this thing that, hey, I would like to meet with you sometime to get coffee. Obviously, you're successful in real estate, and I'd like to show you what blank mortgage company could offer. That ain't going to work. That's not going to happen. But I told this individual, if he were to find me on Facebook, okay, and he were to add me as a friend, right, do a friend request. Most people want more friends, right? Unless you're a creep, you're probably going to accept that person because it's almost like a badge of honor how many friends you have, okay? And he were to send me a message like, hi, Damon, it's so-and-so. I just want you to know, looking at your profile, you're an amazing father. And I love how you are wanting to grow and learn, I'm young and I want to learn and grow too. If you have time, I would love to come to you and take 5 minutes to learn how you both win outside of work and win inside of work, right? So you can maybe write that better, but my point is that that draws emotion out of me, right? He complimented me. He said, because for me, being a father is a very important thing. So he complimented me. I'm like, okay, I like this dude. He sees that I'm being a good father. I also noticed that he notices that I like personal growth. I also notice that he likes that I like to share my ideas and my thoughts, right? That's why I do these videos. That's why I do this podcast. I think I would like to spend 5 minutes with this individual, right? Now, he hit me up on direct message on Facebook. I don't get hit up too much on direct message on Facebook. I don't. Okay? So you have to be tactful in how you did that. Now he could have tracked down my number as well, and my suggestion would be hit me up on Facebook Messenger and then text that as well. The same text. Hey, Damon, I've been following you for a while. You're an amazing father and looks like you have an incredible amount of knowledge on how to be successful. I want to grow and I want to learn too. If I could just take 10 minutes to learn how I could be a better father and how I could be better in business, I would love that. I get that text, okay? There's a couple things. I love texting. I don't know how many people, right? Everybody a lot of times goes old school and they're like, no, you got to pick up the phone, you got to call. Listen, if I were to ask you, and I really want some feedback on this, I don't like when my phone rings. When that rings, okay, it annoys me. But when I get a little ding, and I think it's somebody on Facebook responding, or a little Snapchat from my boy in college, or a text, I don't mind that. I'm curious. I can look at it. So I see that. Now that's on my time. It's respectful my time, and I can respond back. If somebody calls me up in the middle of the day, I don't really want to pick it up. Sometimes I take the chance to pick it up. Okay, so you pick it up. You're kind of annoyed because you may think it's a solicitor. And if that person would have said that to me on the phone, I may have not been in the right mindset to accept that, right? Right? Because then it's like, wow, thank you for that. And, I don't know right now. I don't have, this is us talking on the phone. I don't know. I don't really have my account in front of me now, but, I can maybe check. And there's that awkwardness on the phone, right? There just is. But I can respond back to that text, or I can respond back to that direct message with saying, perfect, man. Actually, Tuesday for breakfast next week would be awesome. Does that work? Then all he has to respond back is yes. Looking forward to see you on Tuesday. See how everything's respectful of the other individual or that prospect's time, right? And you're doing a little research, and you can do that. That's the great thing about social media now. You can go and you can find that individual. You can friend them. You can add them. You can start hearting. You can start commenting on their stuff and get to know them personally, because people want to know you personally. Everybody's getting bombarded with so much stuff. They want to know a little bit more about you, and they want to know that you know stuff about them, right, before they actually sit down and do it. So that's the angle I feel that you need to come at people. So if you're in the real estate or whatever type of sales you're in, that's my suggestion. I told this young mortgage professional, I said, listen, this is what I would like you to do for the next month or whatever. Just friend 10 new real estate professionals on Facebook. Just friend them with a nice little message saying, hi, so-and-so. I'm just trying to meet new people and get going in the business. Would love it if you would accept my friend request. That's it. Sometimes you don't even have to say that. Just send a friend request and they'll accept you anyways. And then what you do is you start to investigate and become curious of that other person. You start looking on their feed. You start hearting. You start commenting. You start to get to know what they like, what they do, right? And it's not, listen, you have to be pure with your motives, right? You're not, you really have to genuinely care, because people understand that as well. And you want to do business with somebody. You want to develop a relationship with the people that you care with, both inside and out of business. So you need to be genuine. I mean, you need to be curious about individuals. And that's where you go. You start commenting, blah, blah, blah. And then next thing you know, the real estate agents or the loan officers are looking at this like, wow, who's this person? I really like him. He has nice things to say to me. He comments on my posts, and then you can hit up for the meeting, the face-to-face, because you want to meet this person now because, listen, they've been commenting, they've been watching your Mindset Minutes, they've been doing whatever. It's like, yeah, man, I'd love to meet you. It's been virtual, and let's get together for coffee. So it's like it's the gateway to those one-on-one meetings. It's crazy, but if you just hit up on LinkedIn with these long little template stuff, man, you're wasting time. And you know what? If the individual, the agent that goes ahead and accepts that and then does that, they're probably not doing too much business. It just is what it is. I mean, if you want to hit the people that are actually doing the business, you're going to have to come at a different angle. You're going to have to come at a different approach. You're going to have to really make sure that you develop and work on that relationship. And that's where I think social and doing it in different ways with direct message on Instagram. There's people on there very active on Instagram. Comment on this stuff, direct message them. I mean, it's so interesting, right? I mean, like I said, LinkedIn is just going, I don't want to hammer that too much, but it's kind of ruined. It is ruined. Every single day I go to messages, But if a mortgage professional hit me up on DM on Instagram saying, hey, Damon, I like that last Mindset Minute you did. It made a lot of sense to me, and it really touched me, and it helped. Thank you. Okay? Maybe he does that 2 or 3 other times. Then I like this guy. I'm like, man, I like this guy. He's paying attention. Then, heck, I might reach out to him and say, hey, let's go ahead and get some coffee. And that's how it starts right there. So I want you to think about that. Hopefully that helped the individuals that are in business. I went on 10 minutes for that. It's exactly 30 minutes. So listen, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really like the end, that business advice at the end. I really, really, really like it. I think it's important. So hopefully, I may comment to that, like at least get to 20 minutes, listen from 20 minutes on to 30 minutes if you're really into business. But anyways, thank you so much for listening to the Winning at Work and Home podcast, episode number 8. Share this, comment. I would love comments, please. I like how Gary Vee says, comments are my oxygen. It makes me feel. So I know I get it from you guys. A lot of times you guys direct message me or hit me up privately saying, I really appreciate your stuff, or I see you around town. Brighton's a small town, this North Metro Denver area, small town. So when I see people at events, they're like, man, I love your stuff, this and that. And sometimes a little bit in my mind, I'm like, gosh, I love it if you would comment or harder to like, because that makes a difference. And I know you guys see it, but it just helps. It encourages me. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Talk to you later. Bye.